You feel that your life has stopped. You work, you exert yourself, you do everything right, but it seems there is an invisible barrier preventing you from advancing. You look at the person beside you and think, why do they prosper and I do not? And worse, this person eats of your bread, sits at your table, smiles in your presence. I will show you now, in this video, why your purpose was locked by someone who is too close to you. And when I say close, I mean inside your house, your circle, your confidence. Stay until the end, because what I will reveal here will change the way you perceive every person around you from this day forward. Before continuing, I need you to understand one thing. This is not theory, it is not guesswork. This is a pattern that repeats in the lives of thousands of Brazilians whom I accompany. Good people, honest people, hard-working people who simply cannot take off. And the reason, most of the time, is not a lack of capacity. The reason is a presence that you feed, that you protect, that you defend. And this presence is sabotaging everything that God prepared for your life without you noticing. I know that what I'm saying is strong, but stay with me, because every minute of this video will give you a piece of the puzzle. And when you assemble everything, you will understand why certain doors never opened, why certain projects always went wrong, why that sensation of walking in circles never abandoned you. And I want to agree on something with you now. If at any moment in this video you feel that I am speaking directly to you, that it seems to have been written about your life, do not ignore this sign. Because when a message finds you at the exact moment, it is not a coincidence. It is direction. Let us begin with the symptom. I want you to recognize yourself now. You wake up tired even having slept. You start the day already with a sensation of weight, as if you were carrying something that is not yours. You go to work, fulfill your obligations, but deep down you feel that you are living on autopilot. The days pass and you look back and think, what have I truly built? You have ideas, you have dreams, you have that project kept in the depths of your heart. But every time you try to take a step toward it, something happens. A crisis at home, an unexpected financial problem, a fight, an illness, an unforeseen event that consumes all your energy and throws you back to point zero. And there is more. Pay attention to this detail because it is crucial. When you decide to share your plans with someone of trust, someone from your house, someone from your social circle, instead of receiving support, you receive doubt. Instead of enthusiasm, you receive discouragement disguised as advice. Is it the right moment? Do you not think you are dreaming too high? Be careful not to get frustrated. These phrases seem like care, but they are chains. Invisible chains that keep you trapped exactly where you are. I will give another example. You start reading a book about entrepreneurship, about emotional intelligence, about spirituality, and this person makes a joke. Are you going to become a coach now? What are you trying to be? And the joke seems inoffensive, but it plants a shame inside of you, a shame of wanting to grow, a shame of wanting to be more. And after hearing these jokes 10, 20, 30 times, you stop trying, not because you gave up, but because you grew tired of fighting against those who should be fighting by your side. There is a popular expression in Brazil that summarizes this well. The Brazilian pulls the other down. We say this as if it were normal, but it is not normal. It is destructive. And when this comes from someone inside your own house, the damage is infinitely greater. A research study conducted by the Locomotiva Institute with Brazilians over 35 years of age revealed that more than 60% of people feel they are not living their true potential. 60%. This means that the majority of adult Brazilians go to sleep every night with the sensation that they were born for something greater, but cannot reach it. And I ask you, is everyone incompetent? Is everyone lazy? Or is there something deeper happening? Now I will enter into the cause, and here is where the game changes completely. The Bible is very clear about this. Psalms 41 verse 9 says, "Even my close friend in whom I trusted, who ate of my bread, has lifted up his heel against me." Do you perceive what is being said here? It is not a declared enemy. It is not someone you recognize as a threat. It is someone intimate, someone who eats at your table, someone you trust with your eyes closed. In Brazilian culture, we have a serious problem with this. We were raised to be loyal, to never distrust the family, to never question those who are near. Blood is blood. Family is sacred. And yes, family is important. But not everyone who has your blood has your destiny. Not everyone who is at your table wants to see your table grow. And recognizing this is not malice. It is spiritual maturity. Think with me. Jesus Christ, the Son of God, was betrayed by whom? By a stranger? By a declared enemy? No, by Judas. One of the 12. One who walked with him, ate with him, heard the deepest teachings directly from his mouth. And even so, he sold the master for 30 pieces of silver. If it happened to Jesus, why do you think it cannot happen to you? And here I want to open an important parenthesis. I'm not telling you to go out distrusting everyone. I'm not telling you to become a bitter or paranoid person. I'm telling you to open your eyes, for you to stop ignoring the signs that God is already showing you for a long time. Because God speaks, He warns, He shows. But many times we do not want to see because the truth bothers more than the illusion. I will tell you a story that illustrates exactly what I am talking about. A man of 43 years, a father of a family, a worker, lived in a city in the interior of Minas Gerais. He always had the dream of opening a small business, a construction material store. He saved money for years. Every cent that remained he kept. He researched suppliers, planned the stock, took a management course at Sebrae. When he was finally ready to take the step, he invited his brother-in-law to be a partner. Because he trusted him. Because they ate at the same table every Sunday. Because his wife said, "He is family, he is blood of the same blood." The brother-in-law accepted with enthusiasm. 6 months later, the business broke. The accounts did not match. The money vanished. Suppliers charged for invoices he did not recognize, and when this man went to investigate deeply, he discovered that the brother-in-law was diverting resources since the first month. He bought material in the name of the store and resold it on the side in his own neighborhood. The dream of years was destroyed in months. And worst of all, the family still stayed on the side of the brother-in-law. He was pointed out as the one in the wrong for having distrusted. The mother-in-law stopped speaking to him. The wife remained divided. And he, who was the victim, carried the guilt for months. This happens in thousands of Brazilian homes every day. It does not need to be money. It can be energy. It can be time. It can be emotional attention. There are people who steal your purpose not by taking something from you, but by occupying all the space that should be used for you to grow. That person who is always in crisis, who always needs you, who never lets you have enough left to take care of your own dreams, who monopolizes your time and your energy with problems that they themselves create. If at this moment you are thinking of someone, if a face came to your mind, pay attention. This is not a coincidence, this is discernment, and I need you to start paying attention to this. If this content is making sense to you, subscribe to the channel now, press the bell, because what comes next is even more revealing. Now I need to explain to you how this theft of purpose works, because it is not something gross, it is not obvious, it is subtle, and it is exactly because it is subtle that it is so dangerous. There are 3 main mechanisms by which someone close steals your purpose. I will show you each of them. The first is constant invalidation. This person never truly celebrates your achievements. When you achieve something, they minimize it. When you have an idea, they point out the risks. When you get excited, they pull you down with a realism that is actually pessimism disguised. Over time, you internalize this voice. It becomes your internal voice. And then you no longer even need the person to sabotage yourself. You already do it alone. Because they planted the seed of doubt so deep that now it grows on its own inside of you. The second mechanism is forced emotional dependence. This person creates a dynamic where you feel guilty for focusing on yourself. If you want to study, they need help. If you want to undertake a business, they fall ill. If you want to travel, they enter a crisis. If you schedule an important meeting, they call crying. If you decide to invest in a course, they appear with a financial emergency. It seems like a coincidence, but it is not. It is a pattern, and this pattern has a name in psychology: toxic codependency. I want you to think for an instant. How many times in the last months have you cancelled something important because of someone? How many times have you stopped going to an event, starting a project, or signing up for an opportunity because someone close created a situation that demanded all your attention? If this happens repetitively, it is not bad luck. It is emotional sabotage. The Brazilian therapist and researcher Dr. Augusto Cury speaks much about this when he describes what he calls accelerated thought caused by relationships that drain mental energy. The person does not need to stop you physically. They only need to occupy all the emotional space so that nothing remains for you to invest in your dreams. The third mechanism is the most dangerous of all. It is imitation and direct theft. This person observes your ideas, your plans, your visions, and uses them for themselves. You mention that you want to open a business, and suddenly they open a similar one. You speak about an opportunity, and they get there before you. You share a spiritual revelation, and they tell everyone as if it were theirs. This happens because when God deposits a purpose in you, this purpose emits a frequency. And people who are spiritually empty are attracted by this frequency. They do not necessarily want to destroy you. They want what you have, and since they cannot generate their own light, they try to steal yours. Neuroscience has a concept called mirror neurons. They are brain cells that make us reproduce what we observe in others. When someone without purpose lives with someone who has purpose, the mirror neurons go into action. This person begins to imitate, to copy, to absorb. Except they copy the form, not the essence. They take the idea, but they do not have the anointing. They reproduce the movement, but they do not carry the strength. And in the process, they empty you. Because every time you share something sacred with someone who is not prepared to receive it, you lose a part of the potency of that thing. I want to make a pause here and ask you a direct question. How many times in the last 5 years have you stopped doing something important to take care of a problem that was not yours? How many times have you swallowed a dream because someone made you feel it was selfish to think of yourself? How many times was the door open and at the last second something happened and pulled you back? If the answer is many times, you need to hear what I'm going to say now. The prophet Nehemiah in the Old Testament went through exactly this. When he decided to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, the first to try to stop him were not the declared enemies. They were Sanballat and Tobiah, people who were in the midst of the people, who pretended to be part of the work, but worked behind the scenes so that nothing would be rebuilt. They mocked, they threatened, they tried to schedule false meetings to take Nehemiah off focus. They sent letters saying, "Come down, let us talk." They invented false accusations. They spread rumors that Nehemiah wanted to proclaim himself king. Everything to destabilize, everything to take him off the wall. And do you know what Nehemiah did? He said, "I am doing a great work and I cannot come down." He did not fight. He did not confront with anger. He did not spend energy responding to provocation. He simply refused to come down from the wall. He protected his purpose with focus, and the wall was rebuilt in 52 days. While the enemy spoke, he built. While they plotted, he advanced. And this is the most powerful lesson you can take from this story. The best response to those who want to stop you is to keep walking. And now, yes, let us go to the solution, because I did not bring you here to leave you in the problem. I brought you here to show you the way out. The first thing you need to do is an audit of association. Sit in a quiet place, take a paper and a pen, and write the names of the 5 people with whom you associate most. Now, beside each name, answer with honesty. Does this person encourage me or limit me? Does this person celebrate my achievements or minimize them? Does this person give me energy or drain me? Does this person speak about my future with faith or with fear? You will be surprised by the result. And I know it may hurt, but the truth always hurts before it sets free. The second thing is to establish what I call sacred fences. This does not mean cutting people out of your life in a radical way. This is not always possible, especially in the Brazilian family context, where everyone lives nearby, sees each other every weekend, shares the barbecue grill and the bank account. Sacred fences mean limiting access. It means stopping sharing your plans with those who do not have the spiritual capacity to protect them. Proverbs 11 verse 13 says, "A talebearer revealeth secrets, but he that is of a faithful spirit concealeth the matter." Not everyone deserves to know what God deposited in your heart, and sharing with the wrong person is not venting, it is waste. Write here in the comments the word fences, if you understood the importance of protecting what is sacred in your life. I want to see how many of you are truly following. The third thing is to recover your identity of purpose. When someone steals your purpose for a long time, you do not just lose the purpose, You lose the belief that you are capable of fulfilling it. You begin to believe that perhaps you are not that special, that perhaps that dream was too big, that perhaps you do not deserve it. And this is a lie. It is the greatest lie that someone can plant in your mind. I attend to people of all ages who arrive and say, "I no longer know what my purpose is." And when we talk deeper, when we dig beyond the surface, the purpose is there, intact. It never left. It was only buried by layers and layers of disbelief that other people threw on top. Every "you cannot do it" was a shovel of dirt. Every "this is not for you" was another layer. Every look of disdain, every mocking laugh, every silence when you expected an "I believe in you," all of this was covering that which God placed in the center of your being. Jeremiah 29 verse 11 says, "For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end." God did not place a purpose in you to frustrate you. He placed it because you are capable, because you were designed specifically to fulfill that, and no person, no matter how close, has spiritual authority to cancel what the Creator determined. But I need to be honest with you. Recovering purpose requires courage. It requires decisions that will bother the people around you. When you begin to prioritize yourself, those who benefited from your stagnation will complain. They will call you selfish. They will call you ungrateful. They will say that you changed. They will say that you became arrogant. And do you know what else? They are right. You changed. And it is exactly because of this that it will work. I want you to understand something fundamental. Every change generates resistance. When water begins to boil, it bubbles. When the caterpillar becomes a butterfly, it squeezes itself to leave the cocoon. When gold is purified, it passes through the fire. The resistance that you will face from the people around you when you decide to protect your purpose is not a sign that you are wrong. It is a sign that you are on the right path. Because those who always saw you stopped will find it strange when they see you in motion. Those who always saw you available will find it strange when you say no. Those who always controlled you will enter into panic when they perceive they have lost control. And you will need to have fortitude to hear all this and continue building your wall as Nehemiah did. I will give you now a practical exercise that can transform your week. Every morning, before picking up the cell phone, before speaking with any person, before anything, sit in silence for 5 minutes. Place your hand on your chest and say in a loud voice, "I was created with purpose. No one has the power to steal what God deposited in me. Today, I choose to protect my vision." Do this for 7 days in a row. It seems simple, but what you are doing is reprogramming your mind to return to believing in yourself. Neuroscience has already proven that repeated positive declarations alter the neural connections of the prefrontal cortex, the area of the brain responsible for planning and decision-making. That is, when you declare your purpose in a loud voice, you are literally rebuilding your brain to act according to it. The fourth thing, and perhaps the most difficult, is strategic forgiveness. I know you may be angry. Angry at the person who sabotaged you, angry at yourself for having permitted it. But anger is a chain that binds you to the past. While you hate, you are connected. And while you are connected, you cannot advance. To forgive does not mean to accept what they did. It does not mean to pretend it did not happen. It does not mean to give access again. To forgive means to let go. It means to say, "I will no longer spend my energy on this. I will redirect all this strength toward my future." When you forgive, you release an enormous space inside yourself, a space that was occupied by hurt, resentment, and pain, and it is exactly in this space that your purpose returns to grow. There is a study from Stanford University about the impact of forgiveness on mental health and the capacity for personal achievement. Researchers followed hundreds of people who carried deep resentments. After going through a structured process of forgiveness, these people showed a significant reduction in stress, anxiety, and even physical problems like chronic pain and insomnia. More impressive, the capacity for focus and for making decisions aligned with personal objectives increased in a notable way. That is, the hurt you carry is not only doing you harm emotionally, it is literally preventing your brain from functioning in the direction of your purpose. I once spoke with a woman of 52 years from Salvador who spent 20 years of her life taking care of a sister who never reciprocated anything. This sister boycotted every attempt of hers to grow. When she decided to open a beauty salon, the sister spread gossip among the clients. When she met a good companion, the sister created intrigues to separate them. When she finally had the courage to establish limits, the entire family turned against her. But she did not retreat. She said, "I prefer to be misunderstood and free than to be approved and imprisoned." Today, 3 years later, she has the salon functioning, is in a healthy relationship, and speaks about the subject to other women in her community. She did not cut the sister out of her life, but she established fences, and inside those fences, the purpose flourished. Now I want to give you one last reflection, and this is the most important of all. Do you know what the greatest tragedy of life is? It is not to fail, it is not to lose money, it is not to go through difficulties. The greatest tragedy is to reach the end of life and perceive that you lived the purpose of another person, that you spent your best years feeding the dreams of others while yours died of hunger inside your chest, that you were so busy being useful to others that you forgot to be useful to yourself. In Brazil, we have a culture of sacrifice that is beautiful in many senses, but that can also be a trap. The mother who annuls herself for the children, the father who works until he falls ill to support the house, the older brother who gives up everything for the family. This is noble when it is a conscious choice, but when it is an obligation imposed by guilt, when it is a chain disguised as love, when it prevents you from living that for which you were created, then it is not sacrifice. It is imprisonment. God did not reveal this to you by chance. You did not click on this video by coincidence. You were guided here because the hour has arrived, the hour to stop living the purpose of others and start living yours, the hour to stop feeding those who empty you and start nourishing what fills you, the hour to look at that shelved dream and say, "There is still time, and I will start now." It does not matter if you are 35, 45, 55, or 70 years old. Purpose does not have an expiration date. Abraham was 75 years old when God called him to fulfill the purpose of his life. Moses was 80. The time of God does not obey the human clock. What matters is not when you start. What matters is that you start. I want to ask you one thing. If this video touched something inside of you, leave a like. Not for me, but for the algorithm. The like makes this video reach other people who are going through exactly what you are going through. People who are being suffocated by someone who should support them. People who lost faith in their own purpose. Your like can be the bridge that takes this message to someone who needs to hear this today. Subscribe to the channel if you have not yet subscribed. Activate the bell. Because I publish content every week about purpose, spiritual discernment, and personal transformation. And every video is a tool for you to build the life that God planned for you. And now the last thing. I want you to go to the comments and write, "My purpose will no longer be stolen." I want to read each one. I want this comment to be a declaration, a milestone, the day you decided to protect what is sacred inside of you. Remember, the enemy of your purpose does not always come from outside. Sometimes he sits at your table, eats of your bread, and smiles at you. But now you have eyes to see, and when you see, no one else can deceive you. May God bless you. May he give you discernment to separate who is an ally from who is a spy. May he strengthen your hands to rebuild what was destroyed, and may from today on, nothing and no one be able to steal that which the Creator deposited in you. I see you in the next video. But before leaving, watch this video that is appearing here on the screen. It complements exactly what I spoke today and will give you even more clarity on how to protect your purpose. Click now and continue this journey with me.